Morning Sun Coast. I will trust in your intentions, and even through my question mark, and I don't need to know the answers. spirit calling, why would I fight the great migration of my heart? It's calling me home. Uncontainable life, it's beating in my chest. Undeniable peace, bringing me to rest. Like gravity pulled me in, the great migration of my heart. It calls me over and over and over again. Well, how could I ever fight? Why would I try? Over and over and over again. Well, I hear your spirit calling. Why would I fight the great migration of my heart? The great migration of my heart. It's calling me home. It's calling me home. Through the valley, through the river, if you're calling, then I'm coming, God. Over mountain, through the wasteland, if you're calling, then I'm coming. Through the valley, hey, through the river, if you're calling, then I'm coming. Through the mountain, hey, through the wasteland, if you're calling, then I'm coming. Over and over and over again. Well, how could I ever fight? Why would I try? Over and over and over again. Well, I hear your spirit calling. Why would I fight the great migration of my heart? The great migration of my heart. The great migration of my heart. It's calling me home. Yeah. It's calling me home. It's calling me home. Good morning, Suncoast. It is so good to be here with you. That line, the great migration of my heart, has been just stuck in my mind all week because it just reminds me that we're on this journey and so many things can happen to us, different circumstances, different things in life. But the thing that keeps making my heart whole is being right here, surrounded by the people who want to shine love more than anything else in their life. So if you're feeling like you're brokenhearted, if you're feeling like you're just wore down this morning, I want you to take a look around this morning and know that this room is a safe environment to say, look, I am who I am, and I love that God loves me just as I am. So you guys ready to sing out a few more songs? Let's go.
I'm out here in the open, trying to steer the path. Somewhere in between the promise and the place it comes to pass.
all for us. I gave my worst, you gave your love. Seems hard to believe. You're telling me you chose the cross. You're telling me I'm worth that much. If that's a measure of your love, how else would I sing? But completely, deeply, sold out, sincerely abandoned. I'm completely, freely, hands to the ceiling, enamored. Oh, my one life endeavor to match your surrender, to mirror not I will be yours. I'm completely, deeply, don't care who sees me abandoned. Oh, I surrender all. And I just can't get over it. What kind of self-control is this? When you had angels at your fingertips, but on the cross you remain. And I can't display the kind of love, but I can praise with everything I've got. Since death that overleaves power right, and just like the grave, I'm completely, deeply, sold out, sincerely abandoned. I'm completely, freely, hands to the ceiling, enamored. My whole life endeavor to match your surrender, to mirror not I will be yours. I'm completely, deeply, don't care who sees me abandoned. Oh, I surrender all, and I surrender all, and I surrender the whole of my heart, the best of my soul, each phase of my life, each breath in my lungs. Consider it yours, Lord. Consider it yours, Lord. The failures I hide, the victories I know, the battles I fight, each crown that I hold. Consider it yours, Lord. Consider it yours, Lord. All the glory forever, the grave that you won, the praise of the heavens, the kingdom to come. Consider it yours, Lord. Consider it yours.
Yeah. This is good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and grab a seat. All right, okay, all right, guys. Great turnout today, man. I see some new faces. Yeah, man, it's good to have you. Thank you. Before we get started, I have to read this. Sorry. Welcome to AIA. If you're here, it is because you knowingly or unknowingly struggle with an addiction to using artificial intelligence and wish to stop due to unforeseen consequences and or otherwise undesirable life choices directly resulting from the use of AI. If this sounds like you, say aye. All right, let's get started. I want to remind you all, this is a safe space, okay? We do not judge unless we be judged ourselves, all right, man? We use code names around here, not just because it's cool, but it keeps the anonymity to the whole thing. My name is Tony. I've been offline cold turkey since 2022. Thank you. All right, who here has used AI this week? New guy, all right.
Yeah, I'm really reluctant to give a name at this point. I'm just...
Come on, man. You just pick a name. It can be a fake name from me, though.
Eamon Targaryen. You know the rules, man. We do not interrupt during a sharing. I'm sorry, man. Please continue.
Thank you. I've actually come to a realization about myself. And that realization is that I'm a fraud.
No, man, don't say that about yourself. No, that's not true, man.
No, I am. I really am. To the world, I'm a literary genius. I'm a best-selling author. Sold millions of copies. But actually, I know the truth. And the truth is...
Holy guacamole with sour cream at Chipotle. I know who you are, man. You're Robert Palamingo. You wrote the Dragon X series. Who? You're literally my favorite author, man. You're the reason that my favorite show exists, man. Oh, man, Robert Palamingo in my group. Everybody said no one's gonna come to your stupid group, man. But look who's here, man. Robert Palamingo, man. Wow.
I'm a fraud! I'm a fraud. I didn't really write those books, guys. I used ChatGPT. I only used ChatGPT to help me edit some, but then it started giving me suggestions that were better than my own ideas. Everyone loved the books, and I realized it wasn't me. It was ChatGPT, but it was too easy. All the stress to stay on top. I used to have such great hair.
No, man, your hair looks great, man.
Gross. I just got so stressed from all the lies, my hair just fell out.
You said that you've been offline since 2022. His first book came out in 2023.
Yeah, bruv. And the first series didn't even come out till last year.
Yeah, how do you know who he is if you ain't even been online?
But he has a phone.
Give me that double five.
Check my status. I gotta check my likes.
Oh man, the things I do to amuse you people. I mean, it's absolutely insane. Good morning, Suncoast. My name's Dr. Troy Doucet. I'm one of the teaching pastors here at Suncoast. We're so thankful you're with us, whether you're live in person or watching online. We're glad you're here with us today. Just want to give you a few quick announcements in the life of the church that's taking place. Today is our first Sunday of the month, so that means right after I finish teaching in this corner, Pastor Brett Watson is going to lead us through communion. So if you want to participate in the partaking of communion, just mosey on to this corner section here, and Pastor Brett will lead you through it. You do not have to believe the things we believe. You don't have to be a member of this church. If you want to participate in communion, it is an open sort of table. Just feel your way over there and participate. Also, if you notice, for the last 27 years at Suncoast, we never pass a plate. We don't take an offering. But we want to make you aware of giving opportunities. Out in the foyer, there are these beautiful, shiny donate boxes. So if you feel led to help us help people in our community, by all means, do that. We encourage it, and we use your funds to help the community in many ways. Last year, we gave away, 29 automobiles to single moms and people struggling in our community. So that's a participation you get to help us with. So today, buckle up. I'm kicking off a 3-week series called AI, moving from artificiality into authenticity. You see, we live in a world right now where artificial intelligence is advancing at an unprecedented rate. And AI promises all sorts of things. It promises us limitless knowledge, unmatched efficiency, and the power to process vast amounts of data in an instant, all at your fingertips. From AI-generated art to what we're now terming deep fake videos, and even chatbots that mimic human voices almost perfectly. We're surrounded by a technology that imitates reality, but it's not actually real. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and one of the podcast commentators said, hey, I want you to listen to this song that just came out. It's an unreleased Elvis Presley song. So I was kind of like, I like Elvis. Elvis is the king of rock and roll. And it was Elvis Presley singing the rapper 50 Cent in the club. Now, if you're of a particular age, you're like, what is that? Well, think of Elvis singing a rap song. It was like, go shorty, it's your birthday, go shorty. Most of you are not amused, but I was like, oh my gosh. And they started playing other songs where they mimicked, with realistic tones, other celebrity voices into other types of genres of music. It was absolutely amazing. But when we think about what artificial intelligence is and what it's capable of, vast amounts of data processing, predicting human patterns, and even making decisions, I want to point out something. It lacks understanding, empathy, compassion, and even authentic wisdom. And AI is at the heart of my studies. My whole dissertation for my doctoral program at the University of Texas was on the intersection between philosophy, technology, and religious experience. So for me, technologies like AI is not just gadgetry, like your phone or your laptop. It's a type of mental alchemy. AI and technology is changing the way we engage with the world and with each other. In 1964, a philosopher by the name of Marshall McLuhan from Canada made this statement. This statement is what captivated me back in my early studies. He said this, listen intently. He says, with every new type of technology, humanity will need to create a new type of morality. Like, think about that. With every new emerging technology, we're gonna have to invent new moralities. And what he meant by this, with all the exciting innovation that takes place within the technological world, it is fundamentally changing how we humans not only perceive reality, but how we come to experience it. Technology today, guys, is presenting us with new moral dilemmas that have never existed before. I'll take you all the way back to the printing press. Johann Gutenberg's printing press, right? It revolutionized how we share knowledge, but it also raises new concerns today about misinformation, fake news being spread. TV transformed culture, but it also introduced a new way for media to manipulate our ideas and beliefs. And now the rise of AI offers incredible opportunities, but it also demands ethical consideration from us that we may not have understood before. Things like your personal data and privacy being accessed, the impact on human identity. What does it mean to be human? And the misinformation and deep fake content that looks absolutely authentic and real. Now, how many of you guys heard the story just last year, at the end of last year, a young woman, well, I say young, she's my age, 50 years old in France, was manipulated by AI fraudsters to believe that she was in a relationship with Brad Pitt. How many of you guys read that story? She was swindled out of $850,000 to believe that Brad was on his deathbed with a kidney disease. Now, I saw the videos. I'm a huge Brad Pitt fan. I saw the videos, I saw the images, and it sounded and looked exactly like Brad. She came to the awareness of what was true by actually seeing the real Brad Pitt on a TMZ reel with his new fiancée at an awards show. Now, we can feel sorry for this woman named Anne and her tragic encounter with these fraudsters using AI to manipulate reality. But the truth is this. There is an ancient struggle with humanity itself that mirrors Anne's sort of situation. There's an ancient story in the Bible about Adam and Eve in Genesis 3, where we read about Adam and Eve eating of this apple and they fall from grace, they lose their innocence, they're kicked out of Eden. But the beauty about the Bible is that there's so much ambiguity that we can interpret these things in a variety of ways. You see, long before AI ever was around, God's children faced a different kind of artificiality. And today's sermon is I want to talk about the illusion of having knowledge as opposed to wisdom. You guys know what the difference between knowledge and wisdom is, right? Knowledge is like knowing things. Wisdom is something that's deeper. Knowledge is knowing that a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing you don't put it in a fruit salad. That's the difference. In Genesis 3, the story of Adam and Eve tells us that they were offered something that seemed to them at first glance to be intelligent. It seemed to be a path toward enlightenment, and it also seemed to be empowering for them. But here's what I want to say. What Adam and Eve gained in knowledge, they lost in connection. It's as though the more they knew, the less they saw. And that problem for them is the same problem for us. Their pursuit of an ancient type of artificial intelligence led them away from authentic wisdom. It distorted their sense of who they truly were, and we struggle with that today. And it disconnected them with the authentic intimacy and relationship that they had with their Creator. I want to give you the background of this story. In Genesis chapter 2, the way the story reads is that God created Adam. Now that's the name we give him, but it's basically human. It's from the dirt, Adam. He creates this human and he breathes into him his breath of life. He puts a piece of himself in this human. And then God forms woman out of the rib of Adam in the myth that we read about. And he places him in this garden. And he instructs him, you could have everything in this garden. Every resource you need, including intimate connection with me, your God. But there's this one tree you don't touch. The one tree. Just one. And look what it says. In chapter 3, it goes on to say, and the serpent was clever, more clever than any animal God had made. Now let me correct your theology right away. That is not Satan. That's not the devil. That's not a demon. Nowhere, anywhere does that word correlate to any word for Satan, devil, or demon. In fact, Peter Enns, one of my favorite theologians who has his PhD in theology from Harvard University, says the serpent is a narrative sort of indicator of temptation or moral conflict. I mean, you can believe in talking snakes if you want. I think this story is trying to tell us a deeper wisdom about the condition of humanity than it is trying to substantiate whether or not there was really one Adam and one Eve in a garden a long time ago. And the serpent was clever, more clever than any animal God had made. He spoke to the woman, do I understand that God told you not to eat from any tree in this garden? But the woman said to the serpent, not at all. We can eat from the trees in the garden. It's only about the tree in the middle of the garden that God said, don't eat from it, don't even touch it, or you're going to die. But the serpent told the woman, you won't die. God knows that the moment you eat from that tree, you're going to see what's really going on. You'll be just like God. You won't be God, you'll be like God. Knowing everything, including deciding for yourself what is good and what is evil. Do we disagree on what's good and evil to this day? Absolutely. When the woman saw that the tree looked like good eating and realized what she would get out of it, she'd know everything. She took and ate the fruit and gave some to her husband, and he ate. Immediately, the two of them did see what was really going on. They saw themselves naked, and they sewed fig leaves together as makeshift clothes to hide themselves. And when they heard the sound of God strolling in the garden in the evening breeze, the man and his wife, that word wife there is not the word wife, it's the word woman. So when we say the word wife, we bring all sort of cultural understandings of what a wife is and things like that. That word is woman. Him and his wife hid in the trees in the garden away from God. And God called to the man, Adam, where are you? That's not a question of location. He's God. He knows where Adam is. It's a question of identification. Like, where are you? Where's your head? You do not look like the man I created. And he said to God, I heard you in the garden and I was afraid. How did he become afraid of his creator? You see, knowledge and wisdom. Wisdom says, God loves me. Knowledge says, God is all powerful. He can destroy me. What side are you going to go with? I was naked and I hid from you. Now look at how God says to Adam. He goes, who told you that? Who told you that? That's an important rhetorical question in the narrative. Who told you that you were naked? Where did you get that information from? That is artificial intelligence, not authentic wisdom. If you're taking notes, guys, here's point number one. When good people have bad information, they're going to make bad decisions. Good people, you give them bad information, there's no doubt they're going to make bad decisions. Remind me of my buddy back home, Boudreaux. Him and his wife, Marie, were going through a divorce. They went to divorce court. They're before the judge, and the judge slams his gavel, and he looks at Boudreaux. He goes, well, Boudreaux, I've decided to give your wife $300 a month in child support. And Boudreaux goes, oh, that's awfully nice, Judge. I think I'll give her a couple of bucks a month, too. You see, here's the thing about the Adam and Eve story. Adam and Eve, despite what you've been taught in religion class or catechism or wherever you've understood faith, Adam and Eve were not malicious, rebellious villains. In fact, when God created Adam, he didn't say, oh, this is good. He said, this is very good. Humanity is very good because we bear the image of God. We were placed in a world of beauty and abundance. But when we are presented with misleading information that is wrapped in half-truth and subtle distortions, we're going to make devastating choices, just like Adam and Eve. You see, the serpent, again, not Satan, but a symbolic figure of temptation and moral conflict, he didn't force them to eat the fruit. He just simply reframed their reality from authenticity to artificiality. It's as though if I were going to translate what the serpent said in modern language, I would say the serpent said to Eve, the only way to truly know who you are and what you're capable of is to disobey what you've heard from God. Because what you were told is not the full truth. You won't die. Now here's the question. When Adam and Eve ate the fruit, did they die? No. They disconnected, or at least felt they were disconnected. And it still happens to this day. I have teenagers who want to disobey me all the time. And why? Why do we disobey? Because sometimes disobedience feels like liberation, doesn't it? You all were teenagers at some point. You couldn't wait to turn 18. I can't wait to get out of this house. Then you get out the house and you get your first bill and you're like, maybe I should go back. I see like 35-year-olds still living with their mom and dad in the basement, and I'm 50, and I go, that sounds like a great idea. Mom, Dad, can I come back? Oftentimes, we make awful decisions in our life because we feel like we're lacking something. We feel like there's lack. When I feel like certain rights that should be mine are being sort of neglected. When I feel like certain freedoms I should have are being denied, I want to disobey that. Now, sometimes disobedience is necessary, right? Like think of like African Americans in the civil rights movement. They were denied voting rights, equal pay, discrimination on transportation. So what did they do? They rose up against the laws that were set up to maintain that sort of discrimination. That sort of disobedience, they were lacking rights and freedoms. But Adam and Eve, not the case. They did not lack for anything in the garden. The story says, take a look around. Everything is at your disposal. Everything is available to you, including this deep, meaningful, significant connection and intimacy with God. God walked with them. But that one tree, the one thing, that one tree became an instrument to incite their disobedience and cause an illusion of disconnection from God. But their disobedience wasn't born from real lack of anything. It was born from an artificial intelligence, an illusion that something essential was missing in their life. So let me ask you this. I'm gonna get real personal with you. How many times have you made a choice you regret because you felt you lacked something that you needed in your life? How many times have we made choices that we regret because if I could just have that one thing? Why do you think affairs happen in marriages? Because the person feels, I lack intimacy and connection, so I'm gonna look elsewhere. What about greed? Why are people so greedy and they just want to accumulate and hoard certain things? Because they lack security. What about lying or exaggerating about your accomplishments? You feel like you lack approval from some people who may open doors for you, what have you. Jealousy. You get jealous, you have an outbreak until you know, why are you talking to that person? Because you lack self-worth. Now, for our purposes here, think about religious legalism. I grew up in a church system that my whole life, it's as though my pastor had a note inside of his sermon that said, this is a very weak point. Slam hand on the pulpit harder. When he would begin to say, you're a rotten, dirty sinner who needs a savior to save you from a place of eternal conscious torment. Slam that pulpit harder. And what did I do? Oh man. Religious legalism, that's lack of trust in God. That's lack of trust in who God has already said you were. My child, loved, accepted. No matter what you've done, you may have a past you regret, made decisions you regret, so do I. But God goes, I'm always with you. You know what sin really is? Sin is not the bad choices you make. That's the symptom of the choices. I don't look at someone suffering from a fever and go, oh, you got a fever, or you got a cough. There is something causing that. So when I see people making awful decisions or bad behaviors, I say that's a symptom of something deeper, and that is sin. And sin is the illusion that when I mess up, somehow God takes a step back from me. I can't look at you right now, Troy. You're too sinful. When all along, God has never left, God has never departed, God is not out there somewhere waiting for me to ask him to come here. God is always already present here. Because here's the thing, the serpent persuaded them to seek disobedience, a type of artificial intelligence, instead of God's design. He suggested that true freedom would come from being independent. Decide for yourself what is right and wrong. But here's the key, and that's what's true for us today. That type of disobedience did not lead to liberation. It led to isolation. And that's what leads to point number 2. Often the real issue at hand is not our misplaced morality. It's our misinformed reality. It's not our misplaced morality. It's our misinformed reality. This is why wisdom is not about just knowing what is true. It's about being connected to the source of truth, to God. Listen to what Proverbs 14:12 warns. It says, there is a way that appears to be right to mankind, but in the end it leads to death. That word appears means at face value, on the surface, it looks good, it seems good, it's logical. But sometimes God is calling you to do illogical things to generate that fortified trust in him. Do you think it was easy for me to leave my children in Dallas and come 1,200 miles away? It was illogical. Every friend I had in Dallas, every one of them who loved me, who I trusted, said, man, maybe that's not a good move. Things are gonna change. And it scared me. But where was my trust? My trust was in my connection to God. I couldn't sleep, I couldn't think. All I could do was think about Suncoast and the impact we could have in this community if we corrected people's theology about not only who God was, but about who you were in God. You see, the story of Adam and Eve is not just about original sin and how somehow I get infected with the sin of some guy who was in a garden. Like, I'm a teacher, and if I find one student talking out of turn or cheating on an exam, I don't punish my whole class. Like, how would you feel if I were your professor and I've caught one person plagiarizing and I docked all of your grades? That's essentially what we're saying about the story of Adam and Eve, is because he messed up, well, I'm guilty too. Baloney. We already know we're gonna mess up, and it's the truth of being connected to God instead of this idea that somehow God is disconnected when I make mistakes. It's not about that. It's not even a story about a person eating an apple and making a wrong choice. It's a story that is true today, and it's as true as it was then. It's a story about what happens when you try to live with a type of intelligence that is based on your independence on yourself rather than your dependence upon God. When we no longer see reality as it truly is, you know what we begin to do as humans? We grasp for illusions of what is real. We trade authentic wisdom for artificial intelligence. And religion has done a great job to convince you of this one thing: that you're a dirty, rotten sinner. And your connection to God is predicated on how good you are. Because God's love is something you have to earn. You have to behave right. Grace is conditional. And God's presence is something I just gotta strive for. I gotta go to church more. I gotta pray more. I gotta give more. When in fact, God's presence is always already right here. And it's something you have to awaken to. It's something you have to attune to. If you look through the lens of a camera, what do you have to do? Bring it into focus, right? And that's what it means to follow Christ. Every day I'm adjusting that focus so that I could see more of God already within me, not somewhere out there. And that leads to point number 3. Here's my final point. Wisdom isn't wireless. I love that. Wisdom isn't wireless. God looks at Adam and he says, who told you that? Who told you that? Because that data, that information didn't come from my server. That wasn't on my web page. That's essentially what God is saying. Who told you that? That information, I'm naked, I'm unworthy. That didn't come from me. I never told you that. In a world of instant access and artificial intelligence, wisdom is so often mistaken for information. But let me say this, let this sear into your mind. True wisdom isn't something you download. It's something you dwell in. You dwell in it. That hits me. It's not found in isolation or detachment. It's discovered through presence, through engagement and surrender. To be truly wise is not to simply know more, it's to become more. To become more. To be attuned to the reality of God's love that is always already available to you. That's the truth. Wisdom isn't wireless. It's always connected to God and to the people of God, to the children of God. I want to tell you this story in closing before I pray and let you guys go to communion. In 1907, there was a scientist named Francis Galton. And he went to this local fair, this local sort of state fair, county fair, whatever it was. And he wanted to perform this social experiment. It's really awesome. You could read about it. And he brought this ox, this huge ox. And the experiment was very simple. Write your name and guess the weight of the ox. So all of these people, hundreds of people, farmers, butchers, housewives, townfolk, scribbled down the guess of what they thought this massive ox weighed. And when Galton looked at the responses, he saw some people were close, but some people were wildly off. But here's the thing, Galton was a man who believed in knowledge. He was a scientist, a doctor, and he believed that the crowd would get it absolutely wrong, that the average person was just too foolish, too disconnected, too uninformed to arrive at the truth. But when he calculated all of the guesses, and he found the average of the collective, he was astonished. The wisdom of the crowd, the wisdom of the connection was nearly perfect. In fact, when he took the average of everyone's guess, the average was off by half a pound. So what's that say? What if wisdom isn't found in your isolated, individualized knowledge, but it's completed within connection? What if the way we discover truth is not through individual striving or achieving, but through divine relationship with God and the people of God? See, in the garden, Adam and Eve grasped for wisdom apart from that connection, seeking knowledge on their own terms. And isn't that what we want? Isn't that what we strive for at times? Quick answers, fleeting knowledge, but wisdom isn't wireless. Wisdom's not something you calculate. It's something you cultivate in community. The fair and this ox experiment teaches us something profound. When we isolate ourselves, or we only listen to one point of view, reality becomes distorted. But when we bring that fragmented understanding together and we communicate and we share and we disagree and we might even argue, something beautiful happens. You can hear the voice of God. So as I close today, Suncoast, I want to ask you this. Are you trying to carry the weight of wisdom by yourself? Or are you willing to find community? Are you willing to find connection to God, to truth, to others? So that instead of simply knowing, we might actually start seeing the world as it authentically is, as the way we were created and designed to see it. That's the truth today. See God's wisdom. He loves you today. So do I. Have a great Sunday, guys.